everyone, and welcome back to another hardcore video. Whenever I need to chop down trees for a build, I just use a spot in the middle of my pond since it's open and podzol won't spread everywhere whenever I plant giant spruce trees. And while this does work, it doesn't look very good. That's why in today's episode, I'm going to be building a dedicated lumber yard for all of my tree chopping needs. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, we have a villager to name. Our cleric villager will officially now have a name, and his name will be named Cornelius. Cornelius, your forehead is looking mighty massive today. Looking good, buddy. Looking good. We can only strive to have as impressive as a forehead as Cornelius has. Now to start collecting the build materials we're going to need for our lumberyard. We're not wasting any time in today's video. So first, this is kind of my little decorational chest. Let's grab a few things from it, like some campfires and lanterns, probably some flower pots, obviously our scaffolding. For wood, we're going to need a whole bunch of spruce wood, and I was busy in between episodes just gathering some extra wood. I don't know how much we're gonna need. Let's just grab this much. We'll also need a little bit of pale oak, definitely not as much pale oak. We'll need the tiniest bit of cherry wood, and then also a little bit of oak. I'm gonna go ahead and start dumping the build materials inside of a chest near our build location. I want a ton of space for this lumber yard so that we can pretty much grow any kind of tree here and not have to worry about clearing out any space. We're gonna do all of the work now so that in the future we don't have to do any extra work. Also, look at the little wolves, so cute. And the wolves are actually marking where we're going to be placing this build. So maybe, I don't know, we'll place the chest here for now and then just dump everything in. I always like to have a handy crafting table and a stone cutter near my build area as well. But for a free cam view, this is where we are going to be placing the actual build for the lumber yard. And then just around this area, I'm going to clear out all of these trees so that each section we are able to plant a different kind of tree. That's the plan, at least. We'll see how it goes. Next up, we're going to need a lot of stone for the build. I'd also like to have mossy stone bricks, so we'll have to go up to the moss farm to collect a bit of moss, but I also need some azalea bushes. We'll need a little bit of bricks, and then also we'll grab some granite. Lastly, let's get a bit of diorite, and then we'll also need some rails so that we can make some like lumber bundles. I'll show you what I mean whenever we get to that part. Now to go the very far distance all the way up to the castle. Don't worry, I will definitely be making an easy way to get up there. Hello, beautiful castle. It's been so long since I've been inside of you. Honestly, this is more than enough moss, so we won't have to worry about running the moss farm. I think we're good to go for now. Look at that cute little wolf farm from up here. I love it. I remember when Moss Reach felt so far away from my base. It did truly feel like its own little outpost all the way over there, but truly, Moss Reach is closer than the castle is. This world has just expanded so much so quickly. Alrighty, now we need to clear out literally so much space. I need to flatten all of this land, just this little section here. Still is gonna take a hot second. And then I want to clear out a bunch of trees. I don't know if I'm gonna clear out all of the trees that I need to right now, but I'm at least going to clear out a big number of trees. Also, we'll have to do a little silk touch of this bee nest, maybe whenever the bees go back inside of it. But anyways, let me quit yapping and get to chopping. With the land cleared out, let's get started on this build. And I did go ahead and outline it a little bit because it's hard for me to like outline and count and talk at the same time. And I'm actually going to have to do some more counting, so bear with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This section here will kind of be the entrance porch kind of thing, I guess you could call it. and bringing this stone floor all the way to the back, we are going to leave this completely open. So it's going to be kind of a hollow tunnel kind of thing, with this side being exposed to the elements. This side will be completely protected from the elements. This will be the actual interior of the build. Then lastly, this right side of the build is going to be for even more work related things. Honestly, do I know what they actually do at lumber mills? Definitely not. Yet I'm here pretending that I know what I'm doing. I guess for this interior side, we'll just use a little spruce floor instead of the stone floor that we've been using on all of the other parts of the build. And look at me getting the floor in first. Do I literally ever do this? I don't think I do. But with the floor in, now is a good time to go ahead and get the roof in. For this roof design, I did do it one time in a Christmas long play video that I did, and I knew that I wanted to do it again in a more permanent world because I just loved the design so much. Usually whenever I build roofs, they always overlap one block from where the wall is. See, they always stick out just a little bit. Same thing over here. You can see that the trim is just out one block, except for this roof design, it is going to be level with the pillars. So is it really that different? Definitely not, but it's a little bit different, okay? I've been having fun trying to come up with new build techniques or just get inspiration from other builders and try to add those techniques to my builds. It's easy to get stuck in a building rut and just like do the same things over and over and over again, and technically there's nothing wrong with that, but I do like to just switch things up a little bit, you know, like making my roof trim come in one block. I know we're doing crazy things over here in this world. Now to actually move on to filling in this roof, which we'll do with some oak wood. And again, this roof is going to be a little bit different than I usually do. We're going to start it actually on the pillar block and then build on the blocks underneath the roof trim so that the roof trim sticks out just a little bit. Roof is in, and I am going to add a separate little section up here. However, I want to start working on the walls right now. I just like to jump around so much while I build, and I would love to hear, how do you like to build? Like, what order do you like to build in? Do you start just simply from the ground up, or do you like work on the pillars and then the roof and whatever, like the walls? Let me know. Or do you just switch things up like I do and then you bounce around everywhere in the build? I don't know why I do it this way, but apparently that's just what I like to do. So we're going to start with some planters here. And then once we get the planters in, then we can go ahead and get the walls in. Ooh, and do you like detail as you go, or do you detail at the very end? That's another great question. The walls on the bottom floor will be stone, and then we'll move to pale oak whenever we go to the second story. To separate the two levels, we are going to have a spruce beam going across. Originally, I was going to do this kind of medieval-esque style, kind of like this, but then it just looked too goofy. I don't know why. I feel like it always looks good when other people kind of have that upper section be larger than the bottom section, but whenever I try to do it, it just looks so awkward. So that is why we have these pillars going down on the side. I just couldn't do it. Anyways, moving on to this top floor, which again will be done with pale oak wood. We'll add some stripped spruce wood pillars throughout the walls. And then for these windows, just because we're kind of tight on space, we're actually going to use some slabs. So technically it's a full block, but also not a full block. And then we'll do the windows like this. So from this side, it very well does look like a full block, but it isn't, if that makes any sense at all. Though on these side walls, we will go ahead and have like normal sized windows. And on this section right here where we can see the piece of oak sticking out, what I'm actually going to do is just turn the staircase so that it's this way and it'll hide the oak. Just a super easy fix, and it's gonna look really cool too. See? Ooh, how cool. Of course, we'll add details, but that's pretty much how the side of the house is going to look. We'll move on to details in just a bit, but I do want to go ahead and get this next part of the build in. believe it or not, there's barely any cherry wood in this build, but we're going to add just a tiny bit here up top. Of course, we're going to have that same style of roof. I had 3 different versions of this build. For some reason, I could just not figure out how I wanted to do it. I'll go ahead and pop them on screen just for funsies so you can kind of see my creative process, or maybe not so creative process. Originally, I wanted to do a water wheel, but we don't really have any like large bodies of water around us. We have like a little bit over here, but I didn't want the tree farm that far away from my base. And obviously we have the pond, but we don't really have space to build like an entire tree farm around the pond. So therefore, no water wheel. One of these days I will build a build with a water wheel. So instead, I opted for a windmill. Kind of similar vibes like we did with our barn. It's just going to be a little baby windmill. I just felt like this place needed something to like power all of the saws that were going to be going. I don't know, it just seems fitting. We'll add some fences to this windmill and we'll get something that looks a little bit like this. And one last thing that I want to work on before we finally get the details in this place. Like I mentioned before, this is kind of going to be a little outdoor work section. It's going to have a little overhang. We'll start off with some staircases and then go a little ways up with some slabs, and then it'll just flatten out at the very top. To fill it in, let's use some oak slabs. That'll pretty much do it for this little section. I do need to add a kind of wall over here, and then we'll have like a little archway here, a little overhang at the entrance. But with the bulk of the build-in, I'm gonna go ahead and get busy detailing and finishing things up. Look at me also, just like a cute little builder with my little wood block and axe. So cute. Details have been added to the build, and I did change up the windmill so that it matches the one that we have over at the barn. I just wasn't really vibing with the one that we had before, and I think this one looks a little bit better. I think maybe. Either way, we're gonna leave it like this for now. And then I did a tiny bit of interior, really just kind of like finishing up ceilings and adding lighting. I added a staircase so that we have a way to get upstairs, and I kind of did this little L-shaped staircase like I have in my starter house, and we do have some like little under the staircase storage here. We could bring it down under the ground if we wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to. But yeah, you know, we have the option, I guess. And then upstairs, we literally have so much space in this build, and actually it goes like even further up because of course we have that separate little story up top, so we have so much space in here. Though I do think that I'm just going to keep the ceiling like this, and I'm not actually going to make the top section accessible. But what I was thinking is it would be super cool if we could have this little lumber building be kind of a storage building too, and specifically only storage for wood related blocks. I don't know, I kind of like the idea of having a little dedicated storage buildings all over my world rather than just one massive one, because what will end up happening is if I have one dedicated storage building, I will spend most of my time in Minecraft inside of that storage building instead of visiting old buildings and just walking around my world more. And that's a big thing that I've wanted to do in this series, is kind of just exploring my world a little bit more and having a reason to go someplace other than my base and obviously other than my storage building. Also, I'm not sure how I want to do the storage. I'm just gonna place some blocks and then see what I end up liking. But I'm thinking if we have kind of little shelves in a way, that could be kind of cool. I know this isn't the most practical use of our space, but honestly, since we do have so much room up here, I think I want to do shelves kind of like this. I think it looks pretty nice. Anyways, continuing our conversation about storage buildings, not saying that I'm never going to build a storage building, because I probably will. I'm just kind of talking about excess storage. We'll kind of put our surplus wood storage over here because my house is getting so full. So we're definitely going to need some more storage at some point. I've tried a couple of different item frame designs and I can't figure out how I want to do them. So I think for now, I'm just going to place them here. I really don't want to get rid of these trapdoors because I think they look so nice there. I'm going to go ahead and copy this design a couple of times so that we can have plenty of places to store our chests. Also, I'm actually going to move the item frames in the aisles of the little shelves because they just look a little bit goofy sticking way out here. I think this is looking perfect for a lumberyard. Yes, it's not like a cute aesthetic interior, but it's so practical and I love it. Though I do want to get a little bit of decoration in there, so let's go over to the wool farm and get some wool so we can lay some carpet down. Hello, little sheepies. How we doing in here? Clearly, they've been doing well because we have so much wool and we literally have every color to choose from. What kind of carpet should we do? Obviously, my first instinct is pink, but I always do pink. What if we did like cyan or something? I think that could look super fun. Let's do it. We can just sprinkle it around here in the center. We can have one here and then one in this room as well. Honestly, just those two little carpets I think are really cute. And I think we'll just leave it like this for now. Let's go ahead and start working on the downstairs. And honestly, I'm not really quite sure what to do with the downstairs, but I'm thinking that we'll just have it be more work area. Maybe we can have like a little counter or a little table or something. We'll add some more shelves. On said shelves, we can add some little chests, and I think it could be really cool to add lots of different saplings. Maybe the shop sells little saplings or something, kind of like wandering trader vibes. Over here, we'll have a little counter. I'm kind of thinking that people could come here and order a large batch of wood or again some saplings, and maybe we can even have some furniture pieces for sale. We can kind of place them out here and then customers could come in and order furniture. I'm thinking like custom pieces or something. So this isn't as much of a store as it is like a place that you can ask for services, you know. Also having this like little stock room is perfect for behind the counter. I love that. Boop. And then I'm wondering if we can kind of figure out a way to stack up some wood. Obviously we don't have a ton of space in this little corner, but even this I think works. We can place some little put out campfires too, just to add variety to this little wood pile, and maybe we'll just have little stacks of wood over here. I love adding item frames as artwork on the walls so we can just place some more saplings around inside of the item frames. Maybe we can place a too tall painting here. Oh wait, that one's so cute. I think the only options we have are horse, man, and other man. So we're going to do horse, obviously. And then we can place this really cute one over here by the log stack. Last but not least, we will finish off with some of this cyan carpet, and honestly, I think we'll just stick it right there. And that's our cute, cozy interior finish. I actually really love this. And I love how simple the upstairs is. It's so functional. It works so well for us. So now we need to go ahead and start working on the exterior. I want to try to add some kind of giant blade. Yeah, kind of like that. Giant in the sense that it's bigger than just the regular stone cutter. But you know, you kind of get the vibes a little bit. A little table would make sense beside of the giant wood cutter, and then we'll place some more of those campfires too because maybe they're cutting wood into tiny little pieces. Over here, I want to place a big old log stack, and I will definitely be placing these all over the lumber yard. This is where the railings come in to kind of bundle the logs together. And lastly, over here, like I mentioned before, I think we'll put some furniture pieces around. So there's a little chair, and then maybe we can place a table right beside of it. Over here, maybe we'll place kind of like a half-finished furniture piece. They're still working on carving it out. We'll pop down a crafting table, and I think that a little bed would work too. I've been playing Harvest Moon Magical Melody. Let me know if you played that. I'm sure like almost no one has. It is such like a niche game, but there's like a little carpenter shop in there and they have lots of furniture kind of just laying around like this. So it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I am just starting to love this little interior so much. Or I guess this part is the interior exterior. I feel like I rarely show you all the interior process, so I hope hope that you have enjoyed getting to see a sneak peek into my brain whenever I'm doing an interior. But with that being said, I need to go ahead and start getting a pathway all the way to my base, and I'm gonna go ahead and start planting some trees around too. I'm thinking we'll have different tree sections, so we'll have a section for like spruce trees and then a section for cherry trees and so on and so forth. And then maybe we can separate those sections with just little pathways. And I'm thinking that we're going to do a super easy path block pathway. I feel like this is quite literally perfect and it just fits the vibes so well. So let me go ahead and get busy at doing that. These are like the first words I've said all day, so sorry if I sound a little bit eepy. Also, I was editing and realized that I didn't place trapdoors here and it was bothering me so bad. So don't you worry, we have trapdoors there now. This place looks so different with all of the trees around and I really love it. So we of course have a little oak bundle here and spruce. We have a little bit of pale oak and then also cherry. And then on this side we have some dark oak. Oh wait, look, that one just grew. I do have some more space over here too, so if we need to plant more kinds of trees, we can definitely clear this area out and kind of continue expanding. But these are most of the wood types that I build with. I did place kind of little paths going through the little forests. I'm not really sure what I want to do about it. I don't love it, but I'm not sure what else I want to do. I also don't want to place like a stone wall. I've tried doing that and I don't think it looks very good. So anyways, the little pathways will stay. Of course, we have this pathway going all the way over to the barn, which is very exciting because at one point behind the barn had literally nothing and now it has so much. It leads to the wool farm and of course now it leads over to the lumber yard. And then lastly, I just placed a bunch of these lumber bundles around, which I think really like spruces the place up nicely. I do think it could be really cool to befriend those wolves that were here whenever we started building this. We kind of like destroyed their forest and kicked them out, but hopefully they're around here somewhere. Oh, wait, they're right here. Hello, wolf friend, come here. Hello, please. Okay, there we go. And then might as well befriend the other one. Goodness, these wolves are hungry. There we go. Okay, now we have 2 wolves. But what I was trying to say, I just think it could be so cool for whoever runs this little lumber yard to have 2 wolf friends. I think it's fun telling stories with your builds and really think about like what the people living here are up to, and maybe they have 2 wolf friends. We'll place 1 here and then we can place 1 inside. Apparently he runs the shop because he is not being cooperative and he just wants to sit there, okay? But of course, I am going to need 2 wolf names down below so that we can name these little wolf friends. And that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's episode. I need to get on to some castle expansions for sure. Trust me, I have not forgotten. But I will get up to that in a later episode. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already, then definitely be sure to like and subscribe. I hope that you all have a lovely day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. And then just dump everything in. Dump. This front section of the build and then all the way through the back is going to be hollow, kind of like a little work area section that's inside but not inside. And then we'll have an inside section over here and a more outside inside section here. Okay, that literally makes no sense at all. She was like, I think I have a more important problem. And I was like, what can I help you with? And she was like, can you call 911? There's a car on fire out in the parking lot. And I was like, okay. I just felt like this place needed details have been added to this little lumber mill. Honestly, what do I even call it? I have actually no idea. Lumber mill, lumber yard, lumber building. I don't know. Wait, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, you can't, because maybe we can come in here. Cool. I love being able to talk. For some reason, he just wants to sit on the counter so bad, but Okay, you can't sit on the plant.